Hi there, welcome to another Rambly video with Chad. In this video, I just want to kind of go over a few things about context and probably the dynamic context inside of Chibi. So I'm going to open up the classic ramen document that I use quite frequently. And so first thing, if you've got some experience with Chibi, you've been using it for a little while and you haven't used it maybe today, I just updated Chibi with a UI update a little bit. I moved the right buttons from down here, kind of cleaned up this bottom prompt bar area, and put it up here and kind of consolidated things into some groupings. So when you hover over rewrite, that's where you get all the different rewrite tools, formatting, the different modes, and as you switch the modes you can see that it labels it there. If your screen is smaller you might not see the mode label there, but yeah, you can still hover over it and pick the different modes. But what I really kind of want to cover here is context, because I'm getting some level of confusion. Maybe I'm not sure if it's confusion or if maybe it's not connecting easily for some reason. Actually, let's go ahead and just start with a new document here. So when we start a new document, by default, I always add in the topic field. So that's primarily because maybe I felt like it was probably better to have at least one of them in there. But inside of Chibi, when I say dynamic context, or when we talk about dynamic context, we're literally referring to this area over here. Now, your view might actually show the prompt vault here as well, but I have mine hidden right now. And so context, if you don't know what context is, it might make it a little bit difficult to understand why this is called dynamic context. Context is essentially all the stuff that you're sending to Chibi for him to use to create your content. That means everything that's in here, things that are above your current cursor location inside of the document. And so let's do something else. Let's say sushi in Tokyo. It's a little bit different than ramen in Tokyo, right? And let's bring back the prompts. Let's go to blogging and let's just get an intro here, just so we can have some content here to discuss. So there's and actually this does kind of showcase things here a little bit, because if you look down here at the prompt, it says write an attention grabbing introduction, use an interesting hook to grab the reader's attention and highlight the main points of the blog post. Notice that it doesn't say anything about sushi. It doesn't even say the word topic or anything like that. There's nothing that really I wrote into this prompt to absolutely connect it to this context up here, right? It doesn't say using the topic. It doesn't say write about sushi. It's just an instruction that's basically saying, hey, Chibi, write an attention grabbing introduction, and then some extra bits in there like use an interesting hook and grab the reader's attention and highlight the main points of the blog post. So I want to make it clear that that's kind of the superpower of the dynamic context. Your prompts don't have to care about the context. So for something like ChatGPT, for instance, when you put in your prompt, you're going to have to write in there, write an attention grabbing introduction about sushi in Tokyo and whatever else that you want to have in there. And you would have to continually add that in, or you would have to make sure that you maintain that topic throughout the course of the conversation that you're having with ChatGPT to keep it on topic with that, so to speak. But in Chibi, since I set the topic here and it's active, you can deactivate it by clicking that. Since it's active, anytime I use a prompt, then Chibi will know that the topic is sushi in Tokyo. I don't have to tell it in my prompt at all. Now you can, and if you find that for certain situations, he's not caring as much about the topic as you want him to, then you can write it into your prompt here. Maybe you could say write an attention grabbing introduction based on the topic. And by saying based on the topic, he would know that you're really kind of targeting that topic right there, since the label would match. But you're not forced to. So I would say that if you're new to Chibi, probably one of the best things that you could do is when you start off writing, I would say you're going to get a new document and it's going to be blank here like this. And so maybe first thing you'd think of is what is it that you're writing about? You could put it in there as a topic. If it's not a blog post, like let's say that you're working on, I don't know, you're writing product commercials or advertising or something like that. You could say product and maybe the name of your product, like Boost Energy Drink. And then just brainstorm, think about it for a little bit. Like, what type of things would you want Chibi to know about your product? You probably would need a product description. Maybe you would even want product benefits, and then you would go in here and you'd write out your product description, your product benefits. Maybe you could even have your target customer, your client avatar, or whatever else. That's kind of the power of this. You can stage all this, and this is kind of like a memory bank that now from here on, whenever I do my writing, Chibi is going to know about my product. He's going to know about my product description. He's going to know the product benefits and anything else that I've added here, so that I don't have to worry about these prompts either targeting them or not targeting them and whatever, right? I can just use my standard prompts. So these aren't filled in, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove these. We got Boost Energy Drink. Let's go over here to our copywriting stuff. There's not really much context here, right? All it is a product. But let's just hit a sales analogy and says, write sales copy using an analogy to promote a product and help the reader understand its benefits. Now, we haven't given Chibi any benefits, so in this case, he would probably be making them up, but he's going to base it off the fact that the product is named the Boost Energy Drink. So my guess is he's probably going to do a decent job. He probably knows enough about energy drinks and stuff like that to kind of get an idea of what it would be. Let's go to copywriting mode. Let's make sure we're in that mode, and then we can just run this. Now notice it doesn't really say anything. I mean, it says promote a product, so that would kind of tie it there, but that just is happenstance. It's not your context doesn't have to match that. Are you feeling like you're running on empty, like your battery is drained and you need a recharge? There you go. There's the analogy. Boost Energy Drink can give you the boost you need to keep going. It's like a jump start for your engine. Another sort of analogy. A quick and easy way to get the energy you need to take on the day with a delicious blend of natural ingredients. There we go. Perfect way to get your motor running. He's still talking about that analogy. That's don't wait, grab a boost, get back on the road. There you go. More analogy. That's actually pretty cool. So that's like, I just want to reiterate this because I sometimes get feedback that Chibi's not intuitive. And the word intuitive can be very kind of subjective. It's hard to say what one person thinks is intuitive and another person thinks that something is counterintuitive, right? Or not intuitive, I guess. And so I think one of the ways or one of the things that kind of comes up is that when you first look at something and this is AI and it's really crazy, but you see Chat GPT and it looks really simple. And it is really simple. It's kind of missing some of the core fundamental features of writing a document, but it's got that, oh, that's really cool, aha moment kind of stuff to it, right? So everybody's flocking to it and it's got a lot of attention. It's really cool. I mean, it is a good product in a sense that it's a chat bot that you can communicate with. But when I'm talking about getting into an app like this, where it's got additional features for you to take advantage of, I think one of the hardest things is how how do I get it to where I think a lot of people feel overwhelmed from, and not because there's a lot there, but because they feel like that there's something that they could be doing better, maybe. And I'm trying to find how can I make it so that, I mean, honestly, if all you learned how to do in Chibi was to add really good context, because really in AI writing, context is king. And if you just get really good at describing what it is that you're trying to write, setting up that context, it doesn't have to be a lot. Definitely in the world of context, more is not always better. It's more like that old saying, garbage in, garbage out kind of thing. If you have really high quality context, then chances are that you're going to end up with something much better as the result that you're probably the results that you're actually looking for. And then when I say something like, you might hear me sometimes say content with substance, because a lot of times AI content is kind of missing that. Because, like in cases like this, right? All I'm saying is product. This is kind of most likely, and I mean, it sounds cool, but really, this would be sort of a dime a dozen type of content, right? It doesn't really have anything that's directing it towards my audience. It's not really defined. I don't really have a defined purpose for creating it, or like a call to action I want the user to really take. Maybe I'm actually trying to write an ad that's for a limited time offer. This content doesn't direct towards that limited time offer in any way, but you could do things where you could supply that context and probably run a very similar prompt and achieve those sort of results, right? So let's just see what happens if I'm going to add one here and just say limited time offer. Get one can, not get one. Let's do it. The classic buy one, get one free. Buy one, get one free. And if we just come down here and we hit, do we still have it in there? Write sales copy, not changing the prompt at all, just hitting the button. Did I click down here? I hope I did. So when that comes out, it should hopefully also discuss the limited time offer. And for a limited time, buy one, get one free. Okay. Now, what if we wanted to be targeting a certain audience? Like target audience, we might say fishermen, right? Let's see what happens when we run this same prompt, but now we're targeting fishermen. Let's see if we get a different sort of output from that. Hopefully it still has a limited time offer, still about the boost energy drink, but also being a fisherman. It's like a rod and reel for your body. Nice. And now for unlimited limited time, you can get one. You buy one, get one free. And with boost energy, you'll be ready to take on any fishing trip with the energy you need to keep going. Don't wait. Grab your boost energy today and get ready to reel in the big catch. Nice. Now see what I mean? Like this is how you're able to really kind of produce some, fine-tuned, targeted. You can go even further. You can add tone, tone of voice, personality. I've heard some people say. This dynamic context area in the word dynamic literally means that you can add pretty much anything you want here. I don't let's just say, let's see, let's just do something weird. I don't know if this doesn't really make a lot of sense, but see types of fish and bass, walleye, something like that. See what it does to the output. And that's kind of one of the nice benefits of our new plan. For just that, what, 42 a month or 420 a year. Right now it's on deal until the end of February, but You get unlimited words and you get to basically try things out, mess around with the AI, experiment without fear of running out of words and stuff like that. Just like the bait you use when fishing for bass and walleye, Boost Energy Drinks provides the boost of energy you need to stay alert and focused on the water. Nice. See, for a limited time, we're fishermen looking for the extra edge. Buy it today, become the master fisherman you always wanted to be. See, I mean, I don't even know where the limit really is. I imagine there's not really any limit. I could probably put in there like, alien fish from Mars, and it would be just this weird. Let's just try it. Alien fish from Mars. And let's just see what happens. But so you notice this whole time, I'm not really having to rewrite my prompt. I'm not really having to do a lot with the other stuff. If I don't want some of these other things to not to like not take it be taken into account, I can hide them and this stuff. Let's see. And you're an avid fisherman looking for the extra energy boost to catch the big one. Okay, our delicious drink is like a fishing lure, luring in an abundance of energy for you to focus on what matters most, catching that big alien fish from Mars. Nice. Nice, nice. Keep your energy levels up all day and bring in the biggest catch. I mean, I think this kind of proves the point is this dynamic context stuff. If the only thing that you learned in Chibi was how to use this context area and then provide simple instructions, and you can use this prompt vault for inspiration. In fact, it would be better if you did use it for inspiration and then you started storing the prompts that you like to use into your private vault area, because then you can just reuse them with a simple click to get them loaded back in there, or you can click here to just run it directly as if it was just a button that you use to run a certain type of content over and over. Chibi has more things in it, right? It's got templates, it's got variables, it's got leads, and all these other things that I would say that they're really cool features, but you don't need them to produce amazing results for yourself. Start with I would say that the basics is to start with learning how to control this context and then using the prompt to get what you want out of it. I'd say after that, you might learn how to use the AI write and finish here, which kind of like adds additional content in line with where you are. Like you can start your sentence, and then you can click this button to let Chibi continue down along the path, let him finish your thought. The right button will continue on and add maybe some more, maybe some good serendipity that brings you some content that you didn't maybe expect, but you found useful. And if you don't find it useful, like in that particular moment, you can even copy it out into your notes or something. So Chibi has a notes section for every document, so you can store notes and come back to them later. Uh, yeah, just once you're at that point, I'd say that you're basically able to do everything you need to do to master content, right? If you can use the dynamic context with prompts, then you're already well ahead of any competition that you have out there. You can create pretty much anything you want on a whim, and you can do it in a way that nobody else will be able to do without really trying hard. Like imagine if you were going to write a prompt to do this. Like if you didn't have the dynamic context and you had to write all that stuff into the prompt, like pretend you're an expert blogger, write a few paragraphs. Well, this is a different one. Let's use a different prompt. Let's go back to our copy here. We'll do sales analogy. So write sales copy using an analogy to promote a product. So you'd have to put in there promote Boost Energy Drink and support our limited time offer of buy one get one free. We're targeting an audience of fishermen who are fishing for alien fish from Mars, and then whatever else you wanted to do. And then anytime you were gonna, write a prompt or do something like that, you would kind of need to be having that in the back of your mind. Like, is the prompt really capturing everything that I need and stuff like that? So this is super powerful. I keep saying powerful, but I think you kind of see my point is once you've got this under control, you can prompt and you can use the context really good. You're pretty much good to go. If you stopped there, I wouldn't be disappointed, that you weren't taking advantage of templates and leads and everything else that's in there. I mean, honestly, those will be things that you can grow into as you become more comfortable with Chibi. They're not they're not the absolute necessary things for you to use. And so if that's how you've felt, if you felt like because you haven't got your own templates and you don't have your own leads and variables and stuff like that set up, don't worry about it. There's no one specific foolproof way that you have to use Chibi. To each their own, so to speak, right? I mean, that's the classic line. But if your brain works a certain way and you like to just use the write and finish buttons to get through your content, then that's perfectly acceptable too. If you're more where you like to use the context here and then write your prompts in like real kind of simple instructions like this, like I just showed you through this video, then that's perfectly fine too. That will produce some really amazing results. I think it was in my last video where I kind of used the word carver, because the analogy that I was using was something like, imagine that wood carver. He's got that little block of wood in his hand and he whittles it down to like this cool little owl statue or something. And it's very much like that when you use these prompts and the dynamic context, right? You get these little blocks of words that you can whittle down to be perfect for your need to form that perfect ad or whatever it is that you're trying to create. So I think I've rambled on enough. The whole point of this video is don't feel bad if you're not using templates and that kind of stuff. Really focus on the dynamic context. That's the killer feature of Chibi, especially when you start getting really good with prompts. And you're going to go really far with that, and you're going to kick some butt in the content space. So I look forward to helping you grow with this, come up with ideas for using the dynamic context in any way. If you have any questions, definitely drop them in the comments below. And until next time, take care.